that.
Yeah.
Okay, our next order of business, we have Lieutenant Jorge Gutierrez of the San Jose Police Department, and he is here to give us an update on crime and safety in our area.
On behalf of Captain Tony here, I want to thank you guys for being here and your interest in here. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what's going on in your neighborhood and division-wise. I am the division commander for the Southern Division, which covers all the way from the foothill all the way to Los Gatos. Within the last 30 days, within Southern Division, we've had 14 robberies, 18 residential burglaries. Unfortunately for you guys have had a few ones. You guys have 12 within your respective area. We've had 35 stolen vehicles, 0 aggravated assaults, 9 aggravated assaults with that doesn't include a firearm. Within your area, you had what area?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Los Paseos neighborhood, which covers all the way to Monterey Road, up to the foothills, San Luis foothills.
So that's more than just Los Paseos.
Right. Yeah. So within your area, you had 12 auto burglaries, which is significantly high. And what does that mean? That means people are leaving their valuables where people can see it. A lot of these crimes are crimes of opportunity. So if you leave valuables in your vehicle, it gives people a chance to break windows or basically break into cars. You had 2 erotic crossings at the shopping center, but the majority have been within your neighborhood. You had 2 residential burglaries out of the 18, which is not significantly high. That's in the lower end of the burglaries. The biggest issue that you guys had has been the auto burglaries. You also had 2 stolen vehicles. What that means is that a lot of people, when they leave their cars running to warm them up, especially right now during the winter season, be very, very careful of that because a lot of those crimes are crimes of opportunity. Kids are going to school or kids are going to commit burglaries. They use stolen cars to do that. So if you leave your cars running, it gives them an opportunity to steal those cars. A lot of the cars have key fobs now, so they can run them all the way up until they turn them off. So just so you guys are aware, you guys have had no robberies within your area, which is significantly good. And the last robbery we had was further north on San Ignacio and Bernal, which is a bit north of your immediate neighborhood. Are there any questions? Yes.
What's the difference between a burglary and a robbery? Because you did say we had 12 burglaries, right?
Yes, auto burglaries.
Oh, auto burglaries. Okay,
Yes.
not as bad.
Yeah. The difference between a robbery and a burglary is basically somebody breaking into your house when nobody's home. Robbery is taking property from an individual with force or fear.
Oh,
So,
there's a confrontation.
yes, sir.
You have can you get the street addresses of the house burglaries?
The house burglaries happen very, very close to the San Teresa foothills. Both of them. And they were within 2 blocks of each other. So if you go to Santa Teresa toward the golf course,
Stillwater is one of them. So we could go today.
So I checked the whole neighborhood all the way up to Santa Teresa. So those were the 2 burglaries that we had on that side, and they were within I believe 2 blocks of each other.
But that's happening in España.
How many of those cars were just left open? That's happened a lot.
Well, if the car is left open, it's a theft. It's no
Okay.
longer a burglary. So that means people are leaving their valuables on, that are visible and people breaking into those cars, breaking into them.
Just open them up.
Yes.
Sorry, back to the two home burglaries
Yes.
were, were they this side of Santa Teresa? Because the one on Stillwater is actually definitely a spot in
Did you do 95139, Lieutenant? When you searched?
What I did was, it's a grid that we check. It's on a CrimeView dashboard. And if you go on CrimeView dashboard, you can also look at it yourself to give you an idea of what's happening.
Which one do you use?
It's the same one, but we have our own internal one.
You
Right,
can.
but within the grid then,
Yes.
it's,
Yeah.
are you staying north of Santa Teresa?
I went further north on Santa Teresa.
You went up to the
North of
foothills.
Bernal,
You went
right.
from
Okay.
Monterey all the way to the foothills.
Okay, so that includes,
So it's other
Avenida
neighborhoods.
España and Los Paseos.
Yes.
In case, I mean, you want to feel better if it's a factor of 3
It's
or
a much
4.
bigger
More or
area.
less.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I expanded it. Yes. Yes, sir.
So, Lieutenant, I was told this, and I don't know if it was fixed or you guys are going to change it, but if someone has something happens to their car, they break into a car, steal something, whatever, if they log it in through the internet and go onto and say this crime happened to me and put all that information in there, that is not counted. It has to be something that's called in to count. Is that still true today?
No, it's not. You can do online reports. Online reports means that you don't have any kind of suspect information and there's no evidence for us to collect, but the information is still collected. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen the academy classes have been pretty large compared to the past history. What's the number of officers now, and what's the amount that we've got a budget for? I mean, is there?
So, just to give you guys an idea, retirements are coming up very soon. So right now, in order for us to stay at the level that we're at about 1109. Just to stay at the same level, the people that are exiting, retiring, it takes an academy class.
Every year? Or?
No, for this year to
Oh,
just supplement those guys that are leaving.
So academy class is 6 months?
Academy class is 6.5 months, almost 7 months.
So 1109. Can you go beyond that? What's the current budgeted number?
We're trying to hire ahead because of the amount of officers that are retiring, but we haven't caught up yet.
So the budget is 1109 right now.
Yeah, retirements that I know of, they're about 40. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes,
One is the 311 and the 911 can be separated so you don't have to wait on the 311 call for half an hour, 45 minutes. I heard that they're going to separate them out, dispatch section, totally separate.
I'm not sure about that right now. I can tell you that our dispatchers and call takers, they're on a 35-hour-a-month overtime mandatory because of their staffing. They just graduated 12 this week, and they're going to provide rounds tomorrow to feel what's going on. So they themselves are short. So as far as changing that over, Peter's going to take some.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
So now we have the team of our local CHP officers, Sergeant Tom Byington, this gentleman here, Lieutenant George Gorey, and okay, that's fine. Well, they're going to give you an update on CHP activity in our area.
Hi everybody, how are you?
Very good.
Lieutenant George Gorey. I work at the San Jose CHP office right off of Brokaw Road. We're very happy to be here tonight. I don't normally I don't get a chance, I should say, to come to a lot of events, but I wanted to come tonight. Sergeant Byington is going to give you some stats and talk about some of your concerns. I don't know if you know a whole lot about our office. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it real quick. We have roughly about 100 officers and 12 sergeants, or actually 11 sergeants, and we have a 3-member command staff, a captain and 2 lieutenants, of which I'm one. We patrol the entire area. from, Blossom Hill north is our jurisdiction. So we patrol the jurisdiction that you guys are living and working. We try to provide the best service possible. We have a lot going on. We deal with a lot of issues with the homeless. We have a homeless team that goes out. They're called the Safety Services Patrol. They do all the investigations at state buildings, state services like the state senators, Department of Industrial Relations, Department of Insurance, all these state agencies that are here. They respond to all crimes in progress, all crimes that happen there. And we also are dealing with something you probably have all experienced, in fact, I can't imagine you haven't, is the homeless issue. Homeless people on the freeway, which is one of our biggest problems. We have a lot of pedestrian fails, or I should say we used to, and our team has really helped reduce that by doing enforcement. And at the same time of doing enforcement, providing services and utilizing the city services to assist these folks. So our new captain, Captain Jason Reardon, he couldn't be here tonight. He's kind of developed this program and let us run with it. And Sergeant Byington is the sergeant who does it. He's the supervisor for the team. We do a great job, so he's going to address some of those issues. But we take great pride in providing service to the public and service to all of you, so thank you for having us here tonight. I'm going to turn it over to him, and I'm going to let him kind of run with what he does, how he does it, and get what some of the concerns are. Yes, sir.
You mentioned you cover Blossom Hill North. Where's south of Blossom Hill?
South of Blossom Hill, interestingly enough, is covered by the Hollister-Gilroy CHP office.
So we're covered not by you guys.
Yes and no. It's not. Our area does end at Blossom Hill, but we do take a lot of calls into this area as well, because they are a very small office. They have roughly, 30 officers maybe? We have 100 officers. So they have 30 officers. As we know, the city of San Jose goes all the way almost to Morgan Hill down there in a very rural area. And there's not a whole lot of them on that end. They're basically stationed on the other end of Morgan Hill, Gilroy area. So we take a lot of calls on this end. And so that's why we're here tonight, is that even though, yes, we're the same department, but we have just 2 separate offices, we still kind of overlap. They don't usually overlap into our area, we overlap into theirs. So, in answer to your question, we do provide, matter of fact, we provide a lot of service on this end, to be honest with you. So, yes, sir.
Obviously, the greatest need of the homeless community is housing.
Exactly.
But more in your bailiwick, from a safety standpoint, what would you consider the greatest needs of the homeless that you see out lining the freeway? What are the things that they need most to be safe?
Well, I think there's a couple things. One, the freeway is a very dangerous place to be. I think we would all agree. Sitting on the side of the road, where they set up their encampments is extremely dangerous. I mean, we had a couple of years ago, one of the reasons we created the team was a rash of fatal crashes where people were pedestrians. Almost, I would say 90% of them were homeless. So that's one of their greatest things. We had to get them off the freeway, because being on the freeway is beyond dangerous. If anybody who's ever broken down on the freeway, I'm sure some of you have, pretty terrifying experience. Cars whizzing by you at 80 miles an hour. The other issue is that we obviously aren't going to be able to solve, but we do have partners, and I'm going to have Tom explain that in a moment, is that we partner with the city of San Jose and their homeless outreach program, who provide services and try to get them into housing and try to get them into substance abuse, because many of them are people that are involved in substance abuse, and many of them have mental health issues. So we try to involve mental health professionals and people from the city that can help get them into some temporary housing, get them into shelters. And obviously, if you have a drug addiction, right, and if you also have mental health issues, usually they go hand in hand, it's going to be hard for you to get a house and pay for a house payment and sustain yourself if you can't get yourself cleaned up and fixed up, right? And I'm not passing any judgment on them when I say that. It's a societal problem. It's just not something that we as a police agency can handle, but we try to point them in the right direction, right? So I'm going to have Tom explain some of what he does. He supervises a team of 6 people, and we're hoping to kind of increase that. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and then we'll take a few questions. That's all.
So in regards to your comment, technically you guys are outside here, but we kind of have adopted your neighborhood. A lot of times we're at the library, and we get emails from Greg and stuff like that, and you guys always have really good snacks like that. So you talked about some of the needs of the homeless. There's a ton of services out there, ton. So they have housing, and there's different kinds of housing as far as shelter aspects. So some beds in some shelters, you have to do chores and help out and clean up around the shelter in order to secure yourself a bed. Others, you just have to show up, that's it. There's even a program now where if, let's say that you're homeless and you're kind of hesitant about going to the shelter, we can call, they will come pick you up, they will take you there, they'll give you a tour, and if you decide you want to stay, they have a bed for you. If you decide you don't want to stay, they'll take you back to your tent. So they're really going all out to help you. My officers that go out, we had Vanessa Beretta from the city homeless outreach team. You guys might have met her. I think she came several quarters ago and talked. She provides us with pamphlets with information of all the local services. And she came and did some training recently for my team members to talk about the different resources that are available. Because there's always kind of an evolving theme with the program as new resources become available or something that might be a little more effective. So everybody that my team comes in contact with, they're offered a ride to a shelter, they're offered services, but we can't make them accept those services. But if they offer and they say, I'd like to go to shelter, okay, hop in the car, let's go. It's that quick. A lot of the things that we found, we offer the services, but we also go on criminal homes. A lot of people with warrants for violent crimes. So we find those people, whatever that appropriate action might be, whether it's to cite and release them, whether it's to take them to jail, we do that. So we found probably an average one person a day going to jail for some kind of a criminal element. So far, we've only had one person accept a ride to a shelter out of the several hundred that we contact each month. So we're offering the services, but there's no magic formula. Everybody's different. So all we do is offer and hope they take us up.
What is the numbers of, is it like 7,500 homeless in San Jose? Is it,
There's a little over 6,000 in the city limits. And I think at last survey in the county, there was around 3,000.
how often are these people, they essentially live in a non-regulated environment, no police, no services. Do you have any idea of how often there's homeless on homeless crime, a violent crime that takes place?
A lot of it doesn't get reported.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, we get called to things sometimes. We get called to assaults where one person beats somebody up over a trivial matter. You know, we have one person hit him in the head with a frying pan, stuff like that. But there's always that mental illness part that plays into it. So when we take a report, we refer it to the district attorney's office for prosecution, and it's up to the district attorney whether they want to file charges on it or not, and how they want to proceed. All we do is kind of present the facts, and then it's up to them to tackle. So I'm sure the numbers we have aren't accurate just because it's not reported.
How do you serve a warrant on somebody that has no address?
You go look for them.
You have to go out there and take pictures and match up
They kind of hang around the same spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've had a few crimes where they've given us a description, and one of my officers, he's very familiar with 6'8", he works out a lot, and he goes, oh, I know who that person is.
So it's boots on.
He hangs out usually at McKee or All-in-One, and so he'll go look for him. It might take a couple days, but usually we find him.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, you're out there in the bushes, stuff like that. Someone else have a question? Yeah.
You mentioned that out of 100 calls, you had one taker for the ride.
I had several hundred calls.
Oh, several hundred. You take them in a marked police car?
Yep.
But I suggest you consider maybe an unmarked car, maybe there's a stigma attached, or?
There is the stigma, and that's why the program I talked about with the city, where we can call the homeless shelter and they'll come out and pick that person up.
With an unmarked car, not a
It's not a police car, it's the homeless outreach group. So they're not law enforcement officers. And so they'll come pick them up. I don't know what kind of car they drive, but they'll give them a tour of the shelter. If they want to stay, great. And if they say, hey, you know what, I want to go back to my tent, they'll take them back to the tent.
It seems like a small number.
It's a very small number, very small number. But like I said, all we do is offer, talk to them about the services, we can't force their hand.
What do you do?
They won't let me do drugs there. I can't take my dog. There's a lot of shelters now where I can bring them, things like that. Some are just unwilling.
One homeless, couple that I talked to, they said that they go to the shelters, they get their stuff stolen by other homeless.
I don't know.
Very probably.
There's crimes that happens in the shelter. That's usually in the police department jurisdiction. That's not in our jurisdiction.
One of the things you have to remember is there's people suffering from mental illness, right? well, what is the mental illness? Are they schizophrenic? You know, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but obviously we're in law enforcement, we deal with this all the time. Is this a mental illness that they were born with or suffer from, or is it a mental illness as a result of drug abuse? Because drug abuse causes mental illness. It will cause you, if you do methamphetamine, if you do cocaine, if you do things like that, it's going to bring out mental illness in you. It's going to cause you to act schizophrenic. It's going to cause you to hallucinate. It's going to cause you to do these things, right? And unfortunately, we are trying to help them. We're not just trying to push them out of there. We are trying to get them off the freeway, because the freeway is, as I said, very dangerous. I mean, it is not a place for people to be camping out. Anybody who's out there can see how dangerous it actually is. The problem that Tom's team encounters is how do you get people to accept help if they're unwilling. That's the hardest part. And that's where the San Jose homeless outreach comes in.
And several times we've had an accident on the freeway where they've run off the road and they've landed on a tent. Now, fortunately, nobody's been in the tent.
Wow.
But it's only a matter of time. You know? Yes, sir.
So the other side of this is when Lieutenant Edwards was telling us, these guys will move. So you guys go in, clean a camp out with Caltrans, you clean them up, they just move and then they go back and forth. What is the state, and I mean, because you guys really, this is not your problem. It's more of a state problem, all the stuff they have to pick up. You know, I mean, it's a big task to do that and get the right agencies involved. Has the state at a level said, hey, we're gonna come up with a group to support you guys to do that? Or are they kind of like, okay, it's everybody's problem, Caltrans, yours, and that's it?
We're the ones dealing with it right now.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to have our partnership with the city and the programs that they have. There is no perfect solution.
And you don't have community service like officers, do you, that help? And they haven't thought about, you know, helping you out with that, because there's enough crime and people going crazy on the roads now that maybe they should look at some help services for you guys, because the cities are doing it, Oakland, San Jose.
One of our biggest partners that's overwhelmed is Caltrans.
I mean, how much stuff do they pick up every, just in San Jose?
Tons of trash.
Right.
On refuse. Sorry, ma'am, you had a question, right?
I did. I was just wondering, besides the safety of homeless people on the freeway, what other important issues do you encounter in this neck of the woods that we might be aware of? And also, what can we do to support you? I know there was a safety officer that gave, for example, a safe driving class at the local high school, which was fantastic. If we could get more kids to take a safe driving class that's offered by the CHP, would be awesome. That's one thing I think of. But what else is going on out there, and how can we help you?
So safe driving class. We offer those in our office. It's called Start Smart. It's not just for the driver, but it's for the driver and their parents. So don't just drop the kid off. Come in with them, and we want to create a dialogue. So when you guys leave, you guys can talk about it as a family. Expectations, how to be safe, what to do in certain situations. So if we can help people when they're younger, start off on the right footing, especially with driving, that'll kind of set the tone for their driving career, and they can understand the dangerous aspect. It is a huge responsibility. It's not just get in the car and go. So that's a huge program. The one at the high school, if you want them to come to your school, call our office. Say, hey, we'd like you guys to come to a presentation. We have a great public affairs officer. He's always trying to find different avenues to engage with people and kind of spread the news of what we're doing and how to reach out to the younger kids especially. We appreciate your support. When you're going on the road, wave with all 5 fingers. Say hi. One thing that's very helpful is when you call 911, a lot of people